It's a very fluid situation in Syria. People are understandably relieved, many of them, at the end of this brutal regime. We're seeing now the full brutality of the regime with the prisons and so forth, and the torture chambers and all of that, which we always suspected, but now it's all been confirmed. So the relief is understandable, but into this mix now, this is a dangerous period for Syria. The idea that suddenly these rebel fighters come into town on trucks and everybody waves flags and everybody's happy is not the reality. There are now so many swirling forces in there, and this next few days and weeks and months will be crucial. It can either go one of two directions. It could be a smooth transition, or it can end up going down the path of somewhere like Libya after Colonel Gaddafi. When you remove a dictatorship or a dictator, into that vacuum can sweep all sorts of people and retributions and different factions and tribes. So this is a very dangerous period, and I think Antony Blinken's right to be saying this could see the re-emergence of Islamic State. They will certainly try to take an opportunity here.
The US has already taken steps to prevent that, haven't they?
Well, there have been significant bombings of what they regard as Islamic State sites all around Syria. It's this incredible mix of different groups, and clearly IS is in the frame of the Americans and perhaps the Israelis.
What's happened to the Islamic State group since it tried to build that Islamic Caliphate?
Yes,
a few years ago, 2019, wasn't it?
That's right. The Islamic Caliphate obviously failed, and they retreated militarily. A lot of their activities then went to Africa. 60% or so of Islamic State's activity, certainly their propaganda, because they use social media as a lot of a network and communication. If you look at their social media feeds, 60% of the propaganda is coming out of sub-Saharan Africa. So because they lost badly in the Middle East, they essentially moved a lot of their activities, their terrorism, their extortions, kidnappings and so forth to Africa.
Turning to Israel's actions now in relation to events in Syria then, John, they've launched extensive airstrikes in Syria, and there have been questions over the military takeover of the buffer zone between the Israeli-occupied Golan Heights and Syria. Some people are seeing that as a land grab. How do you see it?
Look, it's certainly strange behaviour at a time when Syria already has enough problems and instability. The idea of major airstrikes, it means that in the last few months that Israel has been bombing not just Gaza and the West Bank, southern Lebanon, southern suburbs of Beirut, central Beirut, Bekaa Valley, and now Syria. My question to Israel would be, surely there must be political solutions in some of this. It can't all be solved by military actions.